Okay, everybody, I think we can start. Welcome. We are going to be, I think I'm able to share. I'm going to be working with Erica. She is going to be reading on the chat. You can start placing your questions or your comments. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go deep into the class, just go right into the class. And if you have any questions and comments, just type them on the chat. And I'm going to tell you when we can go into the questions and content. Okay, so I'm going to share, the first thing is I'm going to share is, what is the class for today? So today we're going to be talking about recording and playing back. We're going to talk about importing audio, selecting the audio, deleting the audio, splitting audio tracks, and exporting audio, uploading to the host. So we're going to go deep into production. I don't know if do you want to write that down? Maybe I should have left it there for a second. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it for a second there so you can kind of have an idea what are we gonna cover today. Gonna leave it for like a few seconds. Recording is just recording your podcast, your audio, and we're going to try to go into the basic of recording. Importing audio, selecting, that's going to be when we're cutting and pasting and removing things, deleting, of course, right after that, splitting the audio. That means if you record different audios and you want to just put it in different places, we can split that audio, exporting the audio and uploading to the host. Give me thumbs up if you already wrote it down or you're okay. Maybe you want to take a screenshot. Okay. So now we're going to go into production. I want to take a look real quick. I think I can see the, yes, I can see the chat. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go into production. Okay, so this is Audacity. The first thing is we talked the other day on last class how to use these buttons. So we're going to be recording. Oh, I was going to start asking if anybody has any questions regarding last class. I forgot about that. Do you have any questions or comments regarding the previous class? I know there's people who maybe already started researching. You already have an idea what you're going to do. Do you have any questions before we proceed regarding the previous class? And I think we have to unmute everybody. Unmute. Unmute. Dolores, we have Dolores. Okay. Do you have any questions or you're?
No, I'm pretty good. So I did a little bit of research about the host and even worked a little bit on Audacity.
Okay.
But I could get a good grasp of all the things. So far, I have no doubts. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. What about Dolores? I think, were you in the previous class?
She was not. She was trying to make it into the class, but she did get the recording for the first class. So
okay, perfect. I just wanted to know if she has any questions regarding if she saw the video already. Dolores, do you have any questions? I don't know if she's trying to connect the audio.
Yeah, it looks like she's
having some trouble there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can, if you're having issues with the audio, you can place it on the chat if you have any questions regarding the previous class. Anyways, so last class, we were kind of going a little bit over buttons, you know, where to record, how to record. The first thing that I told everybody is be very careful with the microphone. That's the first thing. When you're connecting your microphone, you need to select the one that you're going to be using for your recording. I say this because if I connect this professional microphone and I have the microphone from the computer, of course, you have to pick the right one. Usually people, they forget, they get confused, and they start recording and the sound is terrible and they don't understand why it's picking up another sound. It's not the sound from the microphones because you have to select it. That was the first thing. And I wanted to mention it again. The second thing is I like to record on mono in one channel, and then you can listen over here. You have to also pick the right speakers. It could be headphones like I have right now. It could be speakers that you have from the computer, or it can be the speakers from the microphone. There's a button here, there's a little hole there in the microphone that it will give you access to the audio. Right now, I want it from the speakers. So the first thing that you need to know is, this is like a regular recorder. You're gonna record here. Hello, hello, you see it's picking up my audio. Just like a regular recorder. You're gonna stop here and you're going to back and forth with these two buttons. Okay, so then that's the first thing. If you don't like that and you decide, you can just, I don't know if you can see this little X over here. You just close it and start all over if you wanna do that. I usually don't tell people to start over. I always tell people, if you make a mistake, just make a pause and start over right there. You don't have to close, delete, none of that. When you're recording, just record whatever you're gonna do, a monologue. You're gonna be talking about this and this. You prepare your script. You decide, okay, this is the 3 points that I'm gonna be talking on my podcast. And if you make a mistake, you make a pause and you take it from there. You don't have to say, excuse me, none of that. I'm sorry, I made a mistake, because you're gonna be editing. And there's also something that I do to make sure I can see where I make the mistakes. I do this, and you can see visually that there's like a difference over here compared to the other audio. It's like 3 little spikes. And I also check where I made the mistake. If it was on the 58 seconds after I start doing it, or 3 minutes, I can see it exactly and I write it down. Okay, I made a mistake 3 minutes into almost 30 seconds, around there. So I can remember, and I keep going, recording, doing your intro, welcome everybody, however you want to start. There's different ways you can start your podcast. You have to put together your clock, how you're gonna start, how you're gonna finish, how many minutes you're gonna be, your podcast is gonna be, how many minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Usually I see a lot of 20 to 15 minutes podcasts, a lot of that right now, because people are like, give me the information, boom, boom, boom. Who are you? What do you want me to do with this information? And out. That's what I see a lot. There's a very famous podcaster that is called, his podcast is called the 5-Minute Podcast, 5 Minutes Friday. So he just goes on Friday and he's a motivational speaker. He's very into energy and very passionate about motivating. So that's what he does, 5 minutes and out. He also does an interview podcast. So he will go sit down for an hour with a very famous person, somebody who already has a following. So he will sit for 1 hour, and if the conversation is interesting, I will stay, I will listen for a whole hour. But you need to make sure that it's interesting. 1 hour is a lot. So an intro, who are you? I think we have somebody else came in, Erica? Okay. So who are you? How you going to start your podcast? And then the introduction, who is going to be there with you, etc. Right now, we're just doing a basic, just a monologue. You're just talking to the mic. If you're going to go into that route to do interviews, let me know. later on the chat so I can tell you more or less what you can do. But if you're gonna start only by yourself, you just do your monologue, put together your script, what you're gonna do. And right now I have 3 minutes. I don't know if you can see over here on the very top. Okay, record. He gave me something there. It's okay. So right here, you can see that I have 3 minutes and 21 seconds. I made a couple mistakes. I know I did it at the very beginning. Okay, so now it's time to edit. Let's pretend that I have a 5-minute podcast. And I want to see the whole file. So I'm going to go into view. I'm going to click on view. And I'm going to click on fit to width. View, track size, fit to width. And now it's showing me the whole file. When I was recording, I was a little, because I was explaining, I was far away from the microphone. So maybe that's why it's a little bit, but you can fix that. You can just select the whole thing and you're gonna go to effects, compressor. That's a little trick to make it more robust. Okay, so it's going to check the levels. So you go, if you see that your voice is very soft, you go into effects, compressor, and you do okay. And you see the difference. I don't know if you can hear the audio, let me see. Okay, can you hear the audio?
Very faint, yes.
Okay, so we're recording and we decided, okay, this is what I'm going to fix. Over here, I made a mistake. Here, I'm gonna make a mistake. You just go into, I made a mistake, you select and you delete. You hear the whole thing, of course, and you start selecting what you don't like. Okay, if you forgot something, you can record, you just press where you wanted to keep recording, you just keep recording over here, for example. But that's pretty much what you're gonna do. You're going to record your audio and then you're going to select what you didn't like. Oh, I didn't like this part when I say this, let me take this out of, so select, delete, select, delete. You can even do it over here. I do it with the keyboard, pretty much. You want to start from the beginning and you hear it over there. Over here, the same, etc., etc. You just listen where you want to fix and click and fix it. Okay, so right now, let's pretend, let me go real quick again. So you record by just clicking over here, and then to see the whole thing, you go to view, track to size, fit to width, and you will see the whole file. View, track to size, fit to width. And then you start selecting what you didn't like, you make your notes. Okay, so let's pretend I already have my monologue. It's a 5-minute monologue. I'm going to save it in my computer. You're going to export as MP3. That's the first thing you're gonna do. And let's pretend I'm gonna save it here. In this folder. I'm gonna podcast class. It's going to ask you, this is gonna be like the signature of your podcast. Whoever downloads this is going to have your information. I usually don't do it here. I usually do it when I'm going to mix with music, etc. So the name, Daisy Cedeño. Okay, so this is only for the voice. The track title is usually the episode, the name of the episode. The album title, I will put the name of the podcast. The track number is the number of the episode, the year 2020, the gender podcast. And you save it, and that's it. It's going to save it as an MP3. It's easier to handle MP3. Okay, so let's say that you want to mix it with music. Let's pretend that we are going to start from the beginning. You're already recording. Okay, so let me go back to Audacity. Let's pretend you start from the beginning. And, okay, so you say, okay, I recorded already my voice. I'm going to find that. Open. Where is this folder? Okay. Okay, so I found it on the folder that I saved it. And you said, okay, I'm gonna put some music. For that, it's a little bit more production, but I wanted to show you how you do it. You're going to, you have to find an intro that you like, some music that you like. If that's your route, you have to find, you can do it. There's many places that you can find music. You can buy, I think there's one is called Fiverr. There's people that can make music for your podcast, just to have like an intro. So I will have something ready that I use for other podcasts. So I'm gonna go into import audio. Remember that I already recorded my voice. So now I'm looking for that music that I'm gonna use. So I'm going to go to import audio, file, import audio, 3 steps. Okay, so I have that music on my desktop. Let's say that I have it. Let me see if I'm gonna use. Let me see what music I'm gonna use. No, let me use another one. Okay, here. This one is called Podcast Express Intro. As you can see, I have music on one channel and another channel I have the voice. So now I have to move around. Okay, so the way that I'm gonna move it is I'm going to use these little buttons over here. This is to shift. The one that has the 2 arrows is to move it. This one is to select. This one over here is to manipulate the audio. So if this is too hot, this is too loud, I can manipulate it. But let's start with the beginning. Okay, so we're gonna get out of there and I'm gonna go to shift. The first thing is I want to split this music because I have 2 audios here. One for my intro, one for my audio. So the first thing that I wanna do is I'm going to select and I'm gonna go to clip boundaries split. Oops. Okay, so you select where you wanna go and you go to clip, edit, clip boundaries, split. Edit, clip boundaries, split. But first you have to select, like I did, where I wanted to go. I think I got it twice. You see? Okay, so now I'm gonna use this music over here for the intro, and this music I'm gonna use for the end. That's the way that I do it. You can decide whatever you want later if you're gonna just do. So can you hear the music a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you decide exactly where you want to start. The music is a little bit too hot for me. So I will go and make it a little bit softer with this button over here, envelope. It's a little bit tricky. You try to do in 2 points. You see how it moved a little bit? You have to kind of manipulate it. At the beginning, it's gonna be weird because you have to practice. Okay, you have your music, you have when it's gonna start, and the music at the end, the same thing. You put it where you want it to go. If I want to go to the end, I want to see, always go to view, track size, fit to width, so you can see what you're doing. Okay, so the music at the end is a little bit too hot too, so I'm going to manipulate it too. So I go into this envelope and I'm just going to touch 2 points at the end. So you can kind of manipulate it a little bit so it's not too hot. Okay, so after you have, this is only for usually for the first episode. This is going to be your tray for work. So you always will have your intro and your audio usually on the same location. The only thing that you're going to change is the monologue, but the music always stays the same. The only thing you're going to change is this part when you spoke, if you're going to do a monologue. So we're going to save this as a project first before we do anything else. So we keep it for the future. And we're going to save it. And it's asking me, are you sure you want to save this as a project? It's not going to mix. And you want to say, yes, I want to save it as a project. You can see here the extension is completely, it's not an MP3 or a WAV, it's AUP. That's a project where you can mix, put music, put sound effects, and it's not an MP3 file that you can share, that you can upload. This is only your work tray. So we're going to save it as podcast class 202. Of course, you're going to save it with the name of your podcast. You can say my project, podcast project. Okay, so you said, I'm going to save it. This is the first time I'm saving the music. This is the way that I want it. And I'm not going to change anything with the music. The only thing I'm going to change is the monologue. So I already saved it. Now we have to save it to distribution, which is export as MP3. This is what you're going to do all the time. The project only once. Your tray to work. Your MP3 to send it everywhere all the time. That's what you're going to distribute. So we're going to save it as podcast class. We can save it with the same name. And let me save it as episode number 1 so we can see the difference. Okay, now it's asking me, do you want to mix down all of this? And yes, I want to mix down because it has my music, it has my voice, everything. So you can put here all the information, which is my name. The track title is the name of my podcast. The track title is the name of the episode, sorry. Podcast class, the album. That's the way that I do it for podcasting. The name of the episode. Production. Track number 02, year 2020. So this is what you're gonna do every time that you finish your podcast. However, if you don't feel like doing all of this, it's up to you. A lot of people like to do it just because they want to have like some kind of information attached to their episodes, but it's not necessary. It's telling me that it's something from GarageBand. It's because I took this music from some intros from GarageBand. GarageBand is another software that I use from Mac. So sometimes I grab some stuff from my Mac and I use it. That's why it's recognizing that there's something here that is from GarageBand. It's not a big deal. Okay, so now we're saving it as a podcast, as an episode number 112. Okay, so we're going to, let me see. We're going to close this and we're going to just go and take a look. It's saying, do you want to save this project? It's up to you if you want to save it with the last thing that you did. It's up to you. So what we're gonna do now, so you can see, is the file. Let's go back to Audacity and let's take a look at the file. We're not gonna listen, it's just to see how it looks. So we're gonna go to see that this file and we're going to go into File, Import Audio. File, Import Audio. This time we put it on this podcast class episode 1. Podcast class episode 1. And you see it's all mixed. So you can see it has the whole thing. Now we already finished the episode. That's when we're going to do the distribution. And I think at the beginning it's a lot of information, but if you write everything down, you do it little by little, it's all practice. Record, mix, save. Record, mix, save. The only thing that you might have to work a little bit is manipulating the audio, fixing here and there when you made a mistake, but it's just practice, just to practice. Do you have any questions about this part? I'm gonna, if you have any questions, let me take a look at the chat.
They also have the option to unmute themselves if they do want to speak.
That's right.
Can you suggest some of the sources from where we can get music? You said Fiverr was one of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of places that you can record. Fiverr is a bunch of people that they are like contractors. You go in there and you just tell them, okay, you explain to them, you email them. I think that's the way it works. You email them and you tell them, I have a podcast about motivational speakers. So they have to know. They also have like samples and different stuff. And you pay. It's your file, it's yours. You can do so many things too. Online, there's a couple of things that you can just buy. I think it has SoundCloud. You can go and you listen to different artists and they have like a fee there. SoundCloud, I don't know, can I type into the chat? SoundCloud is one. I think Fiverr is spelled like that. Oops, it's like freezing on me now. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes.
Everything looks good.
Oh, it's weird, but it's freezing on my side. Let me see. Oh, that's strange. Okay. Can you see me?
Yep, nothing has changed on our end. Oh, now you are frozen. Daisy, what we can try doing is you can leave and then come back again. If you all could just bear with us one moment.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. I was trying to put something on the chat. Okay, so I put SoundCloud and also Fiverr. I think that's how you spell it. And it's just artists, people who sell their music, and you can tell them what you really want. You can also, if you have a garage band, a Mac, you can go into the Mac and there's a bunch of intros, outros in there. You can take a look. A lot of podcasters start that way. You can also tell somebody that if a musician, you can tell them what you're doing and maybe they can put something together for you. So there's a lot of music out there you can buy. I do not recommend to put something on your podcast that you don't know where it's coming from because, you know, for a future situation with an artist, you don't want that in your life, especially if you're just starting your podcast. So it's better just to have, it's not crazy money. There's people who maybe like for $25 put together a 30, like a 10-second intro, $50, something simple like that, nothing crazy. And of course, if you know somebody who's famous, you don't put music from people who are famous in your podcast, you have to ask them first. Okay, I think we're gonna go into distribution, but I wanna make sure you got, everybody already downloaded the Audacity? Let me see in the chat, what do you guys say? Yes, okay, I have a yes for over here. Okay, so it's just practice. Practicing with your mic, cleaning, clearing, deleting, and then the only thing that you might have to be is when you're putting music with it to make it more interesting. I already told you how to do split and move the file. And the next thing is distribution. Let's pretend, let me see if I can go into this PowerPoint screen. Okay, so let's go into a little bit of the distribution. So first you need to know what kind of art you're gonna be using. Okay, you already have more or less the name, you know what you're gonna go do. You already started practicing your monologue, if that's what you're gonna be doing, just by yourself. Now you need to figure it out. Okay, the name, usually I tell everybody short and sweet, something that people can remember. You can tell here, but you know, very catchy names, trained, armchair expert. Very simple, just straight to the point and that's it. What are you gonna put as an art? You can, there's people who, if you're famous, you already have a following, of course, you're gonna use that. Put your picture. If you don't have a following, you have to find other ways, you know, make it interesting. There's also Canva that you can do some stuff in there. Canva is an app, an application that you can, it's free at the beginning, but if you want to, you know, do crazy design, something simple, but more interesting, you can start paying, I think $9.95 right now. I think that's still the same price. If you want to go pro, $12.95 per month, but you can start for free and start designing there your art. And it has to be, oops, let me see. It has to be 14 pixels times 14 pixels, the minimum, or 3000 times 3000. It has to be. That's, if not, Apple Podcasts might reject your podcast. Spotify is a little bit more, it's more simple. They don't really care that much, but Apple Podcast is a little bit more picky. So make sure when you're doing your Canva, and maybe I'll show you real quick how to do it. I think we have time. That you do those dimensions, that you use those dimensions. Okay, so this is when it gets a little bit more interesting. This is how you're going to, I think we explained this at the beginning in the previous episode, in the previous class. When we're going to do the distribution, we need the RSS feed. And that goes when first you have to pick who's going to be your host. I talked to you in the previous class about Spreaker. I've used Spreaker, I like it, and Libsyn. I'm going to show you how to do it in Libsyn. The host is your house for distribution. That's the place where you're going to upload your podcast and you're going to do the distribution. It's going to help you tremendously. If you want to do it one by one, and that's going to be, it's not recommended, it's going to be a mess. There's people who started just uploading into their website. If you want to do that, the thing is that your website is not equipped to just put audio there all the time. Maybe 10 episodes and then you're going to have to delete. But the most recommended thing is to put a plugin for podcast. And that's the way you do it. You pick a host for podcast. They're going to give you an RSS feed and they're going to do the distribution and you're going to put your website in there. So it goes automatically. Every time that you upload your episodes, it goes directly into your host, into your website, sorry. So this is the different hosts that I used. I was going to talk to you about this one, but maybe we can leave it for later. Okay. Okay, so this, and of course, we're going to do social media. A lot of people do that, and your website. So let's go into, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, this is a podcast. It's called None of Our Business that I'm working with. So I'm going to show you, they give you Libsyn. I'm going to use as an example, Libsyn host. So I went inside the Libsyn. I'm going to start from the very beginning so you can see how it looks like. So I go into Libsyn and I decide, you can start with $5 a month, for example. It depends how many minutes is your website, your podcast. Okay, so you go, you pick that one, and this is going to be your house. This is where you're going to upload. You see, destination, new content, new episodes. They're going to give you a WordPress website, something simple. Then you decide what you want to do. But I like that part that they give you that. But anyways, here you have to kind of learn. This is going to be like your home. And every time that you have a new episode, you go here, you upload, you pick where it's located, and you upload. So I'm going to do it from the beginning. You go into add new episode. I'm just going to pretend I don't want to upload anything in here. You pick here, add media. You go to your hard drive and you said, okay, I'm going to upload this. And you see the process is right there. Okay. And then publish. That's all you have to do when you have everything set up. And it's going to go to Spotify, to all the different places that you already assigned. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to just cancel. So now I'm going to show you the destinations. Okay, let's pretend that you have, this is your first episode and you're trying to decide where is this going. Destinations. You're going to click here and you have to decide where you want it to go. You see, it's so much simpler just to press a button and it's going to go wherever you want it to go. In this case, we already have this podcast in Spotify. We have it in Google Podcast. We already submitted in Apple Podcasts, because for Apple Podcasts, you have to submit the file directly. You have to send it to them directly. So very simple with Libsyn when it comes to the other ones. However, if you have a situation with Apple Podcasts that you don't know how to do it, you can even talk to them and ask them, hey, I have my podcast with you guys and I'm trying to submit into Apple Podcasts. Can you help me? Right here, help. And that happened to me once. I was submitting and for some reason it was rejected. And I was like, what's going on? And they were very helpful. That's one thing I like about Libsyn. They are very, customer service, very good. And if you want to submit, let's say iHeartRadio, those are the big boys when it comes to radio, and they're promoting all the time podcasts. I don't know if you can, if you listen in the radio, in the car, you will listen to iHeartRadio podcast. So you want to put your podcast there. It all depends also, of course, what is the nature of your business. But this is your distribution right here. This is your home. Of course, I'm just showing you this one. This is one that I use, but there's Spreaker, there's other stuff out there. And I think explain everything. Oh, and they give you a website, but something simple. You can fix it the way that you want it. It will have an attachment also to Facebook. Let me show you Facebook. Destinations. Add new. Okay, you can see here social media. So as soon as you upload your podcast, your episode, you can decide where you want it to go when it comes to social media, Facebook, Blogger, YouTube. I don't like YouTube too much for audio podcasting because I feel like YouTube is for video, but there's a lot of podcasters uploading audio and it will show only your art. It will show only the picture, your picture or the picture and the audio. I like it better, you know, if it's a video podcast to have people talking, you know, it's more fun, but it's up to you. If you have a LinkedIn, the same thing, add it. SoundCloud, there's a lot of podcasters also. So this is going to be your home and you decide. If you have already a WordPress, the same thing. You just have to add it. Very simple. It's just a couple more steps. It's just practice. When you do it the first 2 times, you're like, okay. The thing is, when you do it the first time, you don't even have to think about it because it's already connected to your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn. So it goes immediately. You see it. You see it later on your website or on your everywhere that you have it connected with. Podcast page, Spotify, web player, everywhere. Okay, that's the thing. When it comes to monetizing, you see this button over here, they do help you with monetization, but you have to have the traffic. You can see here, 20,000 US downloads. Okay, so you have to have the traffic to work with them. There's other places that you can do other stuff. And I wanted to talk to you. I think we have a few more minutes. Yeah, we do. Do you have any questions regarding distribution? Because this is pretty much, you have to decide first, okay, if I'm going to go with Libsyn. Oh, by the way, if you decide to go into Libsyn, you can, because I have a couple podcasts with them, you can try it for 30 days for free. Let me know if you need the promo code. And you just decide to try it for 30 days. You like it, you like it. If you don't, you just cancel. But it will give you an idea if you want to do that. If you want to try, it's to give you an idea of how it works. Storage, right here, you can see. These podcasters upload a couple of podcasts over here. You can see all the podcasts that they've done. So you just have to navigate and learn a little bit about this. Do you have any questions regarding distribution? No? Okay, I have.
I put something up in the chat. I just wanted to know if you can schedule the podcast in advance so that it goes up automatically, similar to how a lot of social media platforms work.
I don't understand the question.
Okay, so for instance, you can schedule a YouTube video days in advance
Oh, yeah.
and it can go on its own at a particular day and time. So is
Yes.
that also possible? And would the distribution take care of it, or do I have to do it somewhere else?
No, you can upload 4 at the same time if you want. And thank you so much for that question. I know it's a lot of information. It's just sometimes, on the go, sometimes you learn stuff. And thank you, because that's very important. I tell all my students to record like a package of 4 or 5 podcast episodes. So you're not rushing all the time to record the next one. Oh, I haven't recorded this week. So I tell all the students, try to record 6 at a time and concentrate on promoting, sending everywhere, putting like postings, sharing a little bit on social media, on Instagram, and just concentrate on recording once a month, for example, or once a week. If you're gonna do, I will say, try to do it once, like 2 or 3 times a month, because then you forget, especially at the beginning. I like to record one time every week. I have a day for recording my podcast. I sit down, I record, and I upload. I forget about it. But you can go into scheduling right here. You already uploaded. And here you can tell them when do you want it. You put the date and you upload all your episodes. And you tell them, I want this at the beginning of August. I want this one on the 15th, August 15th, August 7th, etc., etc. You can tell them. You can upload all at once also if you decide to do that. I tell the podcasters at the beginning, when you're starting all this promoting by doing podcasting, to upload at least 4 episodes, because when your audience is going to go and check out, let me check on Daisy's new podcast, I don't want them to see only 1 episode. I'm going to put maybe 3 or 4 if I'm new. So that way they can keep on listening to other stuff. And then you can do like a series of something. You can just say my launching. So I like to do that, but it all depends what you want to do. Remember, you're the executive producer of your podcast. So you decide, okay, I want to do this, or I'm going to schedule. Every Friday, we have a new episode. You can tell that also to your audience. So yes, you can schedule and start promoting, and you tell everybody when it's going to be on your platform, on your website, on Spotify, and tell people always subscribe in Apple Podcasts. Also, if you listen to podcasts in Spotify, subscribe, send me messages, leave a comment. So that will help you to promote with your audience. So this is the part about distribution. And I know it's a lot of information, but it's just getting there, practice, and just try to not do once a month, because, you forget. You have to kind of, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it maybe 3 times a month, to have like an editing day, recording day, and then promoting. So that way you don't forget. That's at the beginning. If you become a pro and you feel like, okay, I'm comfortable, you can just do it twice a month, once a month. At the beginning of the month, I'm going to record 7 podcasts, 7 episodes for example, and you just start promoting. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, I did distribution. Now I wanted to show you a little bit of monetizing. There are many ways that you can make money when it comes to podcasting. Of course, the first thing is, what is that you want from podcasting? We talked about that last week. There's people who just get into podcasting because they want to promote their service. They want to get clients. It's not like you're going to get money physically like there. You're going to promote your stuff and get revenue from relationships, that came because you are doing a podcast. Revenue or indirect revenue. That's what I was talking about. There's a company that is called Patreon. I don't know if you heard about this. It's a very interesting, it's pretty much like a membership, donations. They do a lot of stuff. Get into their Patreon, Patreon, and do a little research because there's a lot of podcasters doing that. Affiliates, there's also programs that you can do. You can become affiliates and affiliate different places, and they give you money just to promote. That's what I talked about. Patreon. Patreon is a membership platform, makes it easy. Okay, when it comes to sell ads, that's also something that a lot of podcasters do. I do it. You connect with an agency, or you become your own salesperson, and you tell people you're going to promote their services in your podcast. Of course, you have to, and you're endorsing that those products or services, it has to be aligned with who you are, with your brand. You have to be careful with that because you don't want to stray away from who you are. You have to be close to what is it you want to promote and why and all that. But that's an opportunity there, promoting services and products from people in the same industry as you. You can sell also yourself. When it comes to infomercials, it's like, for example, a lawyer comes or a real estate comes into your episode, in your podcast once a month. He comes and he talks about houses. Of course, it has to be aligned with your brand. If you're talking about, I don't know, pets, you're not going to bring a realtor. It's like weird. It has to be aligned with, if you're a decorator, if you're going to do something related with decoration and something related to houses, to bring a realtor is not a crazy idea. And you can tell him or her that she can be or he can be in your podcast once a month, and you're going to charge him or her this amount. You work something like a media kit. It's a business. This is also a business. You're promoting yourself, you're making money with this, and you're helping other people to promote their services and products. That's an infomercial. Those 30 minutes is going to be about that realtor, for example. You can do that once a month. You can do it all the time. It depends what you want to do. If you are into coaching, into teaching people things, you can do master classes and promote that in your podcast. Hey, remember, I'm going to have a master class in December 15, and it's going to be in this place. You are selling yourself at the same time that you are promoting and creating your podcast. Okay, I think I covered a lot, and I'm going to leave a couple of minutes for questions because I know it's a lot of information. And let me see. Okay, so can we schedule podcast in advance? Okay, I got that one, Patreon. Okay, perfect. There's a couple people putting stuff in the chat. I got it. Okay, so it's a lot of information. It's pretty much to get in there, keep researching, and just keep on learning. This is a world that is becoming every day. It's the new way of people sharing content, connecting with their audience, getting clients, just promoting themselves. There's a writer. He wrote his book, it got published, and he decided to create a podcast. And what he did at the beginning is to read a chapter from his podcast. He's promoting himself, he's happy, he's sharing with people, he have a guest on his podcast. So it depends what you want to do with this, but there's a lot you can do. And there's an audience out there eager to keep on learning and to be able to connect this way. Because video, you have to pay attention. When you're reading a blog, you have to be reading. But when you're listening to podcasts, you can be on the go. You can be at work. You can be doing the dishes. You can be in your office and you're listening to your podcast. And so there's an audience out there for this content. So I'm going to leave a couple of minutes for questions. And I want to hear, Dolores, how you feeling?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Finally, you fixed it.
Oh, okay. I missed part one. My computer was out of order, so I'm trying to digest what you've just gone over, and I'm taking notes.
Okay. Okay, and what is the name of your podcast? You have an idea where you're going?
Right now, I'm writing my third book.
Ah, okay, great. And what is it about?
Entrepreneurship, and I'm creating an online class on how to write grants.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a market for that. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Anybody else wants to share the name of their podcast, or you have any other ideas, or it's a wrap?
The library has a podcast that you can find on Spotify and our website. It's called Voices from the Stacks. It's amazing. Our children's librarian, Christine, she does a great job putting it together. She'll interview other librarians at Mandel. So if you want to find that, you can go to our website, or it's available on Spotify. It's also available on other platforms, but I don't know off the top of my head. Best place to go is our website.
Exactly. Perfect. You see? There's a world there because we need more podcasters and we need more podcasts. We are hungry for audio content.
Certainly.
So, okay, I think it's a wrap. I think if you wanted to keep on learning about this and you want to connect with me, you can email me, info@daisycedeño.com. I know it's a lot of information, but it's just getting into it. And just be ready for discipline. You need discipline because I don't want you to create 4 episodes, 5 episodes, and then you say, this is too much. You need discipline. This is, it is what it is. At the beginning, it's going to be work. But if you like to share content, if you like this, it's going to be fantastic. You're going to be fulfilled. You're going to be able to connect with other people. You can, I wanted to say, anybody here wants to bring guests into their podcast?
We have 2 minutes left here.
I know, yes. If you want to bring guests into your podcast, you can also do Zoom and download the audio with Zoom. The audio is not going to be the best, but that's an option, and I wanted to let everybody know. If you want to do interviews, so you just record Zoom and you download it. Okay, I think that's it. Erica, you want to say anything else? Because this is a wrap. We usually have this class maybe twice a year, kind of, I would say.
Yep, we're hoping to have it again. We'll have it scheduled. But thank you so much, Daisy, for having this class. Very informative. It's awesome. And thank you, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate the attendance. Keep looking out for our events on our calendar. We're trying to push out a lot of stuff virtually. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.